yesterday with this National Enquirer story. I just want you to clarify. You don't really believe that Ted Cruz's father had anything to do with the assassination of President Kennedy?
No, I don't.
Because this was the story that was in the National Enquirer. But here's the question. You're the presumptive Republican presidential nominee.
No, I wasn't.
You weren't
not
then,
at the time.
but you were, last week you said you were too. You thought you were.
Well, it was not announced
until
until
last. Don't you think you need a higher standard, though, than to get involved in this kind of stuff?
Here's what happened. Ted Cruz's father seems like a nice guy. Don't know him, but seems like a nice guy. He made horrible statements about me. You know, praying for bad things to happen to me. Okay, essentially. I said, that's horrible. And I was on a show, one of your competitors, and they showed me the clip. I said, wow, that's horrible. It's not just a one-way street, you know, where I do something. It was a horrible statement. I was actually surprised by it. And during that, and when I said how bad it was that a man would say something like that, I said, well, why don't you read the various magazines, because it's not only there, it was put in numerous, where he has a picture of himself with Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm not saying they
it was on
conspired.
The internet, but the National Enquirer put it on his
I'm just saying it was all over the place. I said, well, why don't you talk about that? That was it. I'm not saying he did it, but I'm just saying it was all over the place.
But now that you're the Republican presumptive nominee, you have to have a higher standard than to repeat conspiratorial theories like that.
First of all, I wasn't at the time. I didn't know if I was going to win Indiana or not. It ended up being a landslide. It was a tremendous victory, much bigger than anybody anticipated, including myself. There are incredible people out there, and this was in the morning. Now, by the afternoon, it looked like I was going to win, and then a little bit later, it looked like I was going to win big. So I was not a presumptive winner at that time. I was going against them. They were going against me.
But bottom line, you don't believe in that conspiracy.
Of course I don't believe that. I wouldn't believe it, but I did say let people read it.
A lot of people think the general election campaign has started today, you versus Hillary Clinton. This week, she said this about you.
The leading Republican contender is the man who led the insidious birther movement to discredit the president's citizenship. We cannot let Barack Obama's legacy fall into Donald Trump's hands.
Do you know who started the birther movement? Do you know who started it? Do you know who questioned his birth certificate, one of the first? Hillary Clinton. She's the one that started it. She brought it up years before it was brought up by me. And, you know, so she can talk. Look, here's a person under investigation by the FBI. She's only going to get the nomination because it's a rigged deal. And frankly, maybe she won't even be able to run. Now, I think she probably will, because I think the Democrats will work it so that nothing happens to her, even though everything happened to other people that did far less.
But James Comey, the FBI director, he's a serious guy. You have confidence in him. If he thinks there are allegations that she may have violated, broken the law, he'll recommend that.
I hope so. I hope
you have confidence in him.
I do have confidence. I don't know him. I do have confidence in him.
Let me just clarify. The whole birther thing, where do you stand on that now?
I don't talk about it anymore, because every time I talk about it, it becomes a story. So I don't want to waste my time talking about it anymore.
But she's going to raise this issue against you.
I don't care. I'm going to raise it against her.
All right, let's talk a little bit about another story that's come out. And I know you hated this article in GQ about your wife, Melania. Julia Ioffe wrote it. She posted Melania was dishonest, inaccurate, a very tough piece. But since then, some of your supporters have viciously attacked this woman, Julia Ioffe, with anti-Semitic attacks, death threats. These people get so angry. What's your message to these people when something like that happens?
I haven't read the article, but I heard it was a very inaccurate article. And I heard it was a nasty article. I'm married to a woman who's a very fine woman. She's a very fine woman. She doesn't need this, believe me. She was very, very successful. She did tremendously well as a top model. She made a lot of money. And she's a nice person. And I guess some of the article says that she would go in at night and she would stay. She wasn't a party person. It's not her thing. But this is a very high quality woman who loves people and has a big heart. She doesn't need to have bad things said about her. And I heard the article was nasty. Now, I haven't read it, but I heard the article was not what it should be. They shouldn't be doing that with wives. I mean, they shouldn't be doing that. Melania, as a top model, they sent pictures around to Utah, and it wasn't even, it wasn't even like a naked
follow these anti-Semitic.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. You mean fans of mine?
Supposed fans of yours posting these
I know
very
nothing
angry.
about it. You'll have to talk to them
But
about
your
it.
message to these fans is?
I don't have a message to the fans. A woman wrote a article that was inaccurate. Now, I'm used to it. I get such bad articles. The press is so dishonest, Wolf, I can't even tell you. It's so dishonest. There is nothing more dishonest than the media. And I know it better than anybody. And it's actually gotten to a point where it doesn't even bother me anymore. It's gotten so ridiculous. I mean, I've had stories over the last couple of weeks that was so dishonest, knowingly dishonest. It's not a question like they're bad reporters.
But you've worked closely with the press, and it's helped elevate you.
It's probably overall helped me, but I just still find them to be, the lies and the deception and the way they write, and I guess they do it for clicks or they do it to get people. I don't even know why they do it. You'd think a good, honest story would be better. So I do know that the story on Melania, first of all, nobody's going to read it. Not a lot of people would read it except that you bring it up. But I'd like to see my family treated at least fairly and nicely. She didn't need a story like this.